Tuesday edition of PFT Live. It's Thanksgiving week. It adjusts our schedule a little bit. No shows Thursday, Friday. I'll be doing a podcast, PFT PM, on Friday, going over all of the Thursday games. But we're here, obviously, today and tomorrow. Chris Sims will be in. Devin McCourty's with me today. I've recovered from the fit of laughter from the unexpected explanation of the bottom of the pile protocol. I have a feeling that there's going to be a social media version of that will show up at some point today and probably do fairly well based upon the last item on the checklist, clench your butt cheeks at the bottom of the pile. Okay, so during the Vikings game against the Packers on Sunday, there was a moment, and my son was watching the game very closely. He's able to watch only the Vikings game. We're watching all the games at once. He said, I think J.J. McCarthy is concussed. And as we were discussing in the viewing room later in the day what the Vikings' options are to get out of this box they're in, it occurred to me, and I don't know if you were in the room when I said it, it's like he lands in the concussion protocol tomorrow. You can see what Max Brosmer has. My son thought he looked concussed. And you go back and look at the play where it happened. He was getting up a little slowly. He did get hit, head hit either the ground or hit a player. And out of the blue yesterday afternoon, Kevin O'Connell announces that J.J. McCarthy is now in the concussion protocol. And I don't want to be cynical over something that is an important part of player health care because the concussion protocol is there to protect players. It would be naive to assume it's never been manipulated by anyone to achieve the best interests of the team. This may just be the Vikings got lucky here because they're able to see what Max Brosmer can do, the undrafted rookie who finished his college career at Minnesota, and they can give J.J. McCarthy the step back that he may currently need. Because regardless of how we got here, Devin, I feel like, we talked about Bryce Young earlier, I feel like he needs to take a step back. I feel like he's trying too hard. I feel like he's thinking too much, and he's gotten himself into this cycle that he can't break out of. I think it's useful for him at this point to get a break from playing because it just feels like you can just feel, that whole demeanor and the body language and the look on the face. I feel like everything about J.J. McCarthy is he wants to go out there and on the very next play, he wants to make the play that wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think for him is everyone has to realize he's in like this special category because when you enter the league as a rookie and not just a quarterback position, but any position, you are whatever you are that rookie year. You don't know a lot. You're out there playing on pure talent and instincts, and you're getting coached along the way. But a lot of it is whatever reason you get drafted or whatever the skill level you have to be in the NFL, you kind of live off of that. And then the next year, people have seen film on you. They game plan. They know exactly or have a better idea how to attack you. So in that offseason, you do things to try to get better. For J.J. McCarthy, because he was hurt, not only did he not play, because he was hurt, your offseason turns into how do I get healthy? But while you're getting healthy, you don't get to fix some of the things that you need to get better and work on in the NFL. And I think when you watch him this year, and, I'm not a quarterback guru, but hearing, Coach Garrett and Chris Sims talk about, he just has that fastball. Everything is zoom out of his hand. That's something that maybe he could have worked on and would have helped him better this year. But he wasn't able to do that. So I agree with you. Right now, it's been a few weeks where, all right, he's back. He's been healthy. You have a team. The problem for him is right now you don't have a young team that's trying to, fight through and get better. You have a team that is kind of set up to win right now. So they're looking for a quarterback to go execute and at least play to a level that you can go possibly win the game. And I think that's been the disappointing thing about J.J. McCarthy is it's just below the level that he can help this team win. Their defense is good. Their defense has fought and hung with some good offenses, gone, toe-to-toe with Baltimore, these different offenses. And it's just they need a few drives to go and get some points. And you watch him, it's just like, damn, that guy's open. He missed by a mile. Man, this guy's open. Then you put that together with a few drops, it just makes the game feel it just feels bad. I think the tough thing for Minnesota is going to be is that this young kid, Max Brosmer, plays well. Like now you're going to really be in a pickle. Like, yeah, everybody's going to be happy because he's playing well. And, I go all the way back to the preseason. I'm doing the Minnesota New England Patriots preseason game and down on the field just talking to coaches. And, obviously we're talking about J.J. McCarthy and, Josh McCown, the quarterback coach. He's talking about how much he loves McCarthy's work ethic in there every day trying to get better. And then he just throws out there and he's like, hey, he called them Minnesota. He said, hey, Minnesota has a chance to be good in this league. And he's talking about Max Brosmer, and he said it. He was like, he has a chance to be really good. He said he's a guy that can stick around and be in this league for 15 years. And at that time, it had nothing to do with J.J. McCarthy. Josh McCown's a guy who played on a bunch of teams. He was just giving some love to an undrafted free agent that came in to the Vikings organization and surprised a lot of them. And I thought that was just so cool to hear. And now this young guy's going to get his opportunity to go out there. But what do? You're a Vikings fan. What happens if he goes out there and he plays well? Open competition next year? Like, what's the next step?
Well, first of all, I really am seriously considering, after 50 years of misery, unloading that purple bag for the rest of my life. And the more I ponder it, the better it sounds, frankly, because this is a failure on multiple fronts. First point I want to make, though, and this is informed by 50 years of watching football. And I'd like to think after 50 years of watching NFL football, I've figured out a few things. And one of them is the basic pass-fail on whether or not it looks like a quarterback can play. One of the only reasons I watch preseason football, you want to see the rookie quarterbacks. Do they pass the eyeball test? Does it look like they belong? Are they able to just compete and thrive among the highest level of competition they've ever faced? It's one of the positives for Shedeur Sanders. We're going to talk about him coming up. But so far, pass-fail, so far, J.J. McCarthy isn't good enough. And it's not a criticism, it's just a reality. It's like, I don't have any issue with the guy, and he accomplished a lot at Michigan, and the Vikings had to have seen something to make him the 10th overall pick in the draft when Bo Nix was on the board. But you get him out there among NFL competition, and it's just not happening. This is not a hot take. It is not happening. Whether it is he's trying too hard, whether it is he's thinking too much, whether it is he's just not good enough. He doesn't have the arsenal. Trey Lance, that's the last guy Chris Sims had the same concern about. He's got one pitch. Throw it as hard as you can. Break a wall. Shatter the bricks with it. You can't play quarterback in the NFL with one pitch. You've got to be able to change it up. So all those things that come together, and Devin, this is the other issue. And this is the organizational criticism. And I've been concerned for a while that the Vikings are a high-functioning, dysfunctional team. And I'm not going to go all the way down the rabbit hole with why I believe that. But I'm amazed at the lack of strategic thinking in a lot of these organizations. Big picture, not game by game, not do we go for 2, do we go for 1, do we kick it out of bounds at the 25, although I'm disappointed by the lack of that kind of strategic thinking. I'm talking about, what are we doing here? What are we trying to achieve? What are the pieces that we're using to try to get there? And you have to be willing to change your strategy in light of changing circumstances. So last year, and I had Jason Garrett to me, when Sam Darnold was doing what he was doing. You can't let that guy out of the building. Michael, can't let that guy out of the building, right? I heard it over and over again. Now, I didn't hear it as much after Week 18, but still, the circumstances change, and I think, Devin, it becomes incumbent on a competent organization to look at this and say, as they're making their decisions for 2025, here's what we have. We got Sam Darnold, who was excellent last year until the very end of the season. We got Daniel Jones, who we really like, and they actually were thinking about, all right, if they had somehow beaten the Rams with Darnold being ordinary, they were thinking about playing Daniel Jones if they had gotten to the next. That's how much they thought of Daniel Jones. And we got Aaron Rodgers sniffing around. And we got this kid who already is feeling the urgency and the pressure and the disappointment of not playing as a rookie. Now, after we say no to Sam Darnold, we say no to Daniel Jones, we say no to Aaron Rodgers, the weight of the world is on this kid's shoulders. Like, we shouldn't be surprised he's trying too hard. We shouldn't be surprised he's thinking too much. We shouldn't be surprised he's gotten overwhelmed by the circumstances. And shame on the Vikings for not taking a step back and asking themselves, what are we setting up here? Hey, we got to find out what this kid has. Okay, ordinarily, yes. But how many young quarterbacks have ever been in this situation where there goes Darnold, there goes Jones, there goes Rodgers, and look at how – now, I mean, Rodgers isn't spectacular, but they're all playing for playoff contenders. Darnold and Jones have been better than we thought they were going to be, and that adds to it as well. The pressure on this kid has been over the top. It's another reason why it's useful for him to take a step back. But this is a failure of strategic thinking and planning by the Vikings to not recognize we can't expect this kid to figure it out on the fly when we have turned away viable candidates to continue to be the starting quarterback. It's just too much to put on one person, especially who had no NFL experience entering this season.
And I do think the rest of that class, I think sometimes it makes you feel a little bit better about the decision because Caleb Williams wasn't great, but he flashed some talent. Jaden Daniels was unbelievable. Bo Nix was playing at a high level in Denver last year. And then Michael Penix Jr. gets on the field, and you're like, man, he's flashed some talent. And I think Drake May was like, man, everything around Drake May is really bad, and he still is looking good. So I do think that had a little bit for them to be like, okay, we probably have possibly the best situation that even if he was a rookie that a quarterback could go play in would have an Addison and Jefferson and Hockenson. And when the offensive line is healthy, a good offensive line. But the things you kind of forget about are the variables. The offensive line gets banged up. J.J. gets banged up again. So, again, I understand the frustration. For me, I think the hard thing with J.J. McCarthy was coming out. Again, I didn't watch a ton of Mission, but coming out, I just thought it was very weird that a guy was seen so high when everybody talked about his team was built on handing the ball off to the running backs. Like that to me was, man, this is going to be a huge jump in the NFL. No matter how good your running back situation is in the NFL, eventually you got to go play quarterback and play quarterback at a pretty good level for your team to win. And it just feels like that. It's just a jump for JJ. That's all it is. Like, maybe he's not ready yet, or maybe he's just not that guy to be that style of quarterback in the NFL. But I think the hard thing for him is call it fair, call it not fair. His time in the NFL is going to be determined in these situations. The next time he gets back on the field, that same pressure is going to be on him, and he might only get this year or the beginning of next year, and he'll be somewhere else like we've seen with a bunch of other quarterbacks. That's just the reality of the situation.
And maybe that's what he needs at this point. Maybe he needs a fresh start, just like Sam Darnold did multiple times, like Daniel Jones, like Baker Mayfield. Circumstances come together, but I really am amazed. And I don't know enough about the inner workings of NFL organizations, but I've been covering this for 25 years now. I don't get the sense that many teams have, other than the owner, somebody who kind of pulls all the threads together and is responsible for making big picture strategic decisions with all factors, because everybody's too close to it. That's what we're talking about. Sometimes you're too close to the decisions. Yeah. Somebody needs to say, whoa, wait a minute. What are we doing here? You know, you talked about the success of the rest of the class. That adds to the pressure on J.J. McCarthy. He's the one bust right now. Now the jury's out on Michael Penix, but McCarthy is the one clear failure so far of those 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. One other thing, too. And it's, as we approach draft season, it is weird how guys just kind of pop up. And my recollection, and I'm plugged into the Matrix all the time, my recollection is once Jim Harbaugh started talking him up, all of a sudden J.J. McCarthy's regarded as a top pick in the draft. Like he wasn't before that. Harbaugh starts banging the drum at the time when Harbaugh just wins a national championship and he's going to be the Chargers coach and he is the coach at that point, and he's talking up J.J. McCarthy. And people just like assumed it wasn't basic coaches supporting his player. Nonsense. They took it to heart, and here's McCarthy now. Oh, well, Jim Harbaugh says he's good. And in a weird sort of way, it's the ultimate Trojan horse if he ends up being a bust, as he's on track to be, because the Vikings didn't hire Harbaugh. And I don't know that they did it on purpose, but, man, it's a hell of a dish served cold for Harbaugh to have gotten the Vikings to take a guy that was going to be their first franchise quarterback since Fran Tarkenton and create this mess where they let multiple franchise quarterbacks walk out the door to keep the guy that isn't working out. All right, I got to go to bed now. That hurts more than falling down the steps. I think I'm fine from that. But, man, I'm shattered emotionally from what's going on with the Vikings.
And it's crazy because, like, Harbaugh spoke him up so much that at some point people were like, are they going to try to trade Justin Herbert and try to get this? Like, I just remember hearing all of that talk around the draft, and you sit here now and it's like, Harbaugh loves Justin Herbert, but I remember at that time there were some people who were a little unsure about that.
Hey, they could have taken him with the 5th overall pick. They could have taken him. I was saying, put your money where your mouth is, Jim. Take him. Take him. And that's the thing. It's as simple as he was trying to get somebody to take. He's trying to get somebody to take him before the Chargers are on the clock to push down the guy that they wanted. So, all right, serenity now. I really am. I've never. Like, I've always. I know we got to take a break. I've always accepted that the team that brought you to the NFL table, you're stuck. It's a tattoo on your psyche. It's a family member that you can't disown. There's nothing you can do about it. For the first time in 50 years, and maybe it's because the 50th anniversary of the Hail Mary play is coming up December 28 of this year. For the first time, I'm seriously entertaining a clean break. I seriously am. My only concern is if I do, they'll win the Super Bowl the next year. That's the only thing that's keeping me from doing it. But I guess I can always come back. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.